Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Streams of Income podcast. I am here with an old friend and somebody that I have known digitally and through books for many, many years. And then I finally got to meet him at a homeschool conference.
Yeah.
And Jim is one of what I call my Dan Miller Alumni Club. People
Right.
that I know that through Dan Miller. And so if you've never heard of Jim, well, let me put it this way. Chances are if you're part of that club, you've heard of Jim. You just didn't know this was him.
Right.
Dan always talked about him. He would come up like every third or fourth podcast. He talked about you in the 48 Days book. So Jim is, well, you know what? I'll let Jim introduce himself because he'll say it way better than I do. But he's done some pretty amazing stuff and some amazing streams of income. So Jim, what would you say you do? Like, who are you?
I am Jim Hodges, the voice of Jim Hodges Audiobooks. I had been told since I was a wee lad of about 7, the first time somebody said to me, it was a teacher, after I had agreed to read a page of a Dick and Jane book out loud in my second grade classroom. See, I do better if other people's words are in front of me, then I don't have to. But anyway, so I read this page from Dick and Jane, and I knew how to read already. And there was an exclamation point at the end of, the last couple of lines. And so I read them with enthusiasm. It's like, see, Dick, run, Dick, run. This little 7-year-old boy with a high squeaky voice. And the teacher just kind of took a step back and said, oh my gosh, Jimmy, that was wonderful. Would you like to read another page for us? And just like that. Amazing what an impact a random statement from a teacher, whose name I don't even remember, had on me as a 7-year-old boy. She told me, you do a good job reading books out loud. That's what she told me. She didn't say it exactly. She just said, that was amazing. Would you like to read some more? And well, that told me. And so from that point forward, all the way through high school, all the way through college, I always volunteered to read out loud because I felt like I had a knack for it and I enjoyed doing it. And people were like, wow, that was good. Thank you. That's very helpful. Because if you have the right pause and emphasis and all of that, you can steer the listener's mind to follow the meaning of the words in the book much more easily if you can break things up. So anyway, I did a lot of recording. I did a lot of reading out loud in school, high school, even in college. I started doing theater when I was in high school, just a couple of little one-act plays, no major parts or anything. But the first one-act play I was ever in went on to state finals, which was kind of interesting because the girl who I still know and had the main leads did well enough that we went on to compete, which was kind of interesting. And so I started an audiobook business because I love to read out loud. So that's,
you say that's kind of understated, but in the homeschool field, conferences and all that, you are like one of the most well-known audiobook presenters out there.
Well, that's great.
You've got a following.
I do. Yes, I do. I've got, over 12,000 people on my email list. I do have name recognition out there in the homeschooling community. A lot of other companies are carrying my stuff now, which is really neat, and have been since the very beginning. But, Jim Hodges Audiobooks has gone through a lot of iterations. Over the last 25 years. That's how long I've been doing it. 25 years, full-time, Jim Hodges Audiobooks.
Yeah. And you used to do the conferences a lot, like show up and do the vendor thing. And I've done that before, and that is excruciatingly painful and boring sometimes. Do you still do that?
My last homeschool convention was in Fairbanks, Alaska last year. I did the 3 idea homeschool conventions, Anchorage, Soldotna, Fairbanks, and that was my last homeschool convention. It doesn't mean it will be my last, but it was the last one that I did. I've done 200. I did the math finally. 274 homeschool conventions I've done. I mean,
wow.
If people don't know my name after that, guess what? Not a whole lot more I can do.
Yeah.
And I love doing the homeschool conventions because you'd meet these little kids that thought you were some kind of movie star because they listened to me reading books to them, as they're driving to soccer practice or whatever, or with the family around the fireplace in the evening. And so that was exciting. And I got to personally interact with other homeschooling families, moms, dads, kids. And I get energized by that. I really get energized by that. And so, yes, I've done a lot. I just turned 67 this year. And so I'm just a little bit ready to wind things down a little bit. So I'm not doing the homeschool conventions. Plus they became, for me anyway, and I don't know if this is true for everybody doing conventions, but for me, they became less and less profitable as the cost for a booth just kind of went through the roof, and then travel expenses and rental cars and meals out. And I mean, I got to the point where if I could drive, I would, because that was less expensive than flying. And then I didn't have to have a rental car. On Thursday night, you got to get there Thursday night for a Friday and Saturday convention. And a lot of them have Thursday night with shopping hours too. I would get a pizza on Thursday night, and I'd have half of it for dinner on Thursday. I have the other half for dinner on Friday. So it was like $10. Okay. For lunch, I'd bring a couple extra hard-boiled eggs from the breakfast bar at the hotel where I was staying, if they had a breakfast, because sometimes I'm staying in Motel 6s and they're like, yeah, you got a bed. Shut up.
You're lucky to have a bed.
You're lucky to have a bed. So they just got to be so expensive. And I just wasn't turning a profit. My sales were still good, but when I looked at and compared it to what it cost me to get there, there were diminishing returns. So I've taken some other tacks that I believe have made up the difference there.
Yeah. I mean, I love going to conferences, but doing the booth and everything, unless the sales are blowing through the roof. I mean, I'm more of an introvert, and so it would wear me out so much. Yeah. And people see these conferences in big cities and they think, oh, it's a, tax deductible vacation. No, it's not. By the time you get done for the day, you go to the hotel and die.
You do. I mean, they would say, okay, be here at 9:00 tomorrow morning or 8:00 tomorrow morning, and be here till 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. I traveled alone for a number of years. My wife came with me, and she was we were homeschooling still, and she was getting tired of the homeschool convention scene. And I got to the point where I had to beg her to come just to give me some relief. And I finally just gave up on that and figured, you know what, if I have to walk away from my booth, I'm going to put a sign up saying I'm taking a break, and I'm just going to walk away, because it is grueling. And people would want to get together after the convention, other exhibitors. And I made a lot of friends in the homeschooling exhibitor circuit. And they're just wonderful, absolutely wonderful, wonderful people. And I would say, look, if we can do it Friday night, okay, great. But I don't want to do it Saturday night, because everybody's breaking down and trying to get out of there. And I would love just going out to eat with them. But other than that, no. When it was over, I was like, okay, back to my hotel room, chill, decompress, and try to get a decent night's sleep. And who sleeps well in a hotel? So the next day, you're starting off behind the 8 ball. So it got very, very hard. And so if you're going to homeschool conventions, be nice to the exhibitors. They're really, laying it out there on behalf of their business, obviously.
Yeah.
But people do that because they love the homeschooling community, and they believe that what they have can really help homeschooling parents. Yeah. It's a big job. It's a big job. we only had 3 kids, so they were 3 years apart roughly. So we had, 3 different grades going and trying to keep everybody learning the same kinds of things, so anyway, be nice. Be nice to your exhibitors. They really do work hard, and their heart is definitely in the right place, for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I know in the old days it was primarily CDs. And now you do a lot of digital. Do you have any other like streams of income you've spun off from the audiobooks alone? Not we'll get into the other stuff later, but have you found other avenues?
The other avenue that I have found is really I'm so glad that I thought of this. I was approached about 7 years ago by this company that said, hey, I met you at a homeschool conference. I know you record books. I run a publishing company, and one of my authors has requested that I get some samples of voice talent. Would you be interested in recording this chapter of this book? And we'll lay them all before the author. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. So I read the chapter, I sent it in. He wrote me back about a month later and said, well, the publisher, I picked your recording, but the author did not. However, I've been to your website. You've got a lot of stuff, and I do distribution for books and audiobooks.
Oh.
Would you be interested? And I said, well, where are you putting it? Well, Audible, iTunes, recorded books, all of these. I have been to audiobook sites that I've never heard of anywhere in an email that I got that mentioned them in passing. And I click on it and I go there and I'm already there. So this guy really has done a masterful job distributing my audiobooks. And at the time, he said, I'll give you 25% of the royalties I collect. I said, you know what? 25% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So yeah, sure, go ahead. 5 years later, I had proven myself, obviously, because my numbers kept going up. My quarterly check kept going up gradually, but consistently. And so it was time to renew. And I said, I had already started another distribution network system. And I said, look, I want 50%. He's like, oh, no, that's not, I might be able to do 35 maybe. But I said, Brian, look, that's it. If you want to keep carrying my stuff, I want 50%. He's like, okay, fine. So now I'm getting 50%, which is good. That actually works out to, where's the document? It works out to like anywhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a month from him putting my audiobooks on all of the different audiobook websites. And so that is a stream of income that I don't have to do anything. I just keep recording my books. I've got over 100 books. And so they're out there and you can buy them from audiobooks.com or Chirp or, anybody. And I get a portion of the royalties that are collected on that. So I never was on any of the public sites before this guy approached me. So all of a sudden I had another stream of income, which was great. What I had started in the interim, well, for one, we started off with cassettes. in 1999.
You've been doing it that long.
Oh, yeah. A long time ago. I did a little bit of research and discovered that well over 90% of the audiobook industry was on cassette. So, of course, you do cassettes. And what I did was there were 2 books that I recorded with Lee in Virginia and In Freedom's Cause. With Lee in Virginia, I recorded because it was the Civil War, but from a Southerner's point of view, and I knew a lot of homeschoolers were from the South, so I thought they would enjoy that. And the other one was In Freedom's Cause, which was the story about William Wallace and Robert the Bruce. Well, Braveheart had just come out, 6-9 months prior, and everybody was still enamored of that story. So those are the 2 that I recorded, had them produced on cassette, cost me a boatload of money because nobody knew who I was. I was green, first time around. We're gonna rake this guy over the coals. So I went ahead and sent out free copies of those 2 audiobooks to any distributor of the books, and these are the George Alfred Henty historical novels. Anybody who was selling the books, I emailed, asked if I could send them a copy, and they said yes. And every single one of them started ordering the cassette editions of my audiobooks. And Rainbow Resource was one of them. Christian Book Distributors was one of them. I had a number of distributors already, and I started doing homeschool conventions. Well, the next thing I know, those sales started dropping. So I did another analysis. They said, "Oh, well, you need to go CD." I said, "Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Well, tell me about that." And this is Bill Bowden at the Spectrum Manufacturing in Norman, Oklahoma. And I said, "Well, tell me about that." He said, "Well, you can't fit as much on a CD as you can fit on a cassette. So it's going to take more CDs, and the packaging is different, and they're going to cost you a lot more." And I said, "Well, no, I don't need the manufacturing price to go up. I need it to go down." Because I was spending $9 or $10 per cassette package.
Yeah.
And I would wholesale them at 18 and retail them at 36. So it was 100% markup and another 100% markup. And that gave the distributor the chance to be the hero. Manufacturer's suggested retail is 36. I'll sell it to you for $29.99, and so they get to be the hero. I still make double what it cost me, or I make what it cost me. And so then he said, "How's about MP3 CDs?" I said, "I have no idea what you're talking about. What is that?" Well, he said, do you listen to music online or anything? I said, "No." "Well, millions of people are, and they're all listening to MP3 editions of these great songs. So if we did an MP3 edition of your books, it would be one CD, and it would cost you $2 a pop, as long as you ordered like 100.
Yeah.
Okay, done. Let's do that." So they revamped the covers so that it fit on a square instead of the cassette packaging. And all of a sudden, my cost went down like mad to $2 per copy. And I sold them to my distributors for 10. So instead of getting $4 back, I got $8 profit per CD.
And the technology's better.
It takes up less space. And then with a retail price of 25, they could be the hero and sell it at 20 and still make 100% of what it. So everybody's winning here. I've always been clearly of the mindset that if this isn't good for you and me, then there's no sense in doing it, because I don't want it to be all good for me and not for you. So that's always been my mantra. Well, CD sales started dropping. As I told you, the expenses went up, the CD sales started dropping. So I realized I'm sitting on a couple $1,000s worth of CDs over here. They're not doing me any good.
Yeah.
And they're not selling naturally, and I'm not doing conventions. So I just realized I'm going to dispense with the CD editions. I'm going to go straight download and straight streaming. So I got in touch with, I think there's 8 different distributors that distribute to homeschool. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different companies that I approached and said, "Look, I've got all these great books. You market and serve the homeschool community. How's about we do this? I give you my complete inventory of audio. You put it on your website. You sell at my retail price, and you send me 50%. That's bringing in $1,800 a month."
Yeah.
So that's a stream of income, again, that I don't have to do any extra work for.
Yeah. It's I call that passive adjacent. Like you had to do some work initially, but
Absolutely. And it's funny you would say that, because there was a time, I think it was at around the 10-year mark that I'd been in business. I was really curious. Okay, how many copies of With Lee in Virginia have I sold? That was the first book that came out. So I went to my records. I use QuickBooks, and it's very accurate, and you can search for a title. You can search for anything you want and say, bring up all of the information relating to this title. It turned out that I had sold a copy of With Lee in Virginia every single day for 10 years.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm still selling copies of With Lee in Virginia. I finished it in 1999.
Yeah.
And it's still I haven't done anything to it. I'm even better at my job now than I was then. And yes, I had to do some work. And I like to tell the story about Harper Lee. She wrote To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mm-hmm.
It won the Pulitzer Prize in 1963, made into a movie, all, just stage productions, everything. She only wrote one other book in her lifetime that she never even published before she died.
Yeah.
They found it in her bedside table or something when they found her dead, and they published it, and it was like, nobody was really all that impressed with it, apparently. But I think she lived on royalties for the rest of her life for one book.
That's the dream there.
Oh, man. Every kid in high school from 1965 till today practically has to get their own copy of To Kill a Mockingbird and read it. It's a great book. It's a great story. It made a fine movie.
Yeah.
And yet,
I'm surprised they haven't made a second movie yet. Not a sequel, but just another remake.
Because they do like to do remakes, and Hollywood doesn't have an original thought in their head. So that would be.
The great thing about those historical books, like the Lee book, is they're historical, but every so often something will happen and they'll revive again.
Bring it back up again.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about, 12 Years a Slave? I mean, I had never, before the movie, I had never read or heard of that book, but it was an old book.
Yeah, right. Yes. So I feel like I've gone through a number of iterations, cassettes, and then skipping over CDs and going straight to MP3 CDs, starting to sell. So there was this one title. There was a great book, and all the teenage boys were like, "Oh, record this one." I'm like, "Why? It's not a very well-known historical event." Well, there's so much action in it. We love it. Would you record that? It's like, all right, fine. So I recorded it, and sure enough, it didn't sell that well. So when I was testing my, and it really was testing the first foray into selling downloads, I picked that title to be on sale for $10. I sold 180 copies during the month so it was like $1,800 just fall into my lap for a book that before that hadn't done much of anything. And now everybody on my email list knows you don't have to go to a convention, you don't have to buy a CD, you don't have to wait for it in the mail. You can go to your computer, you can buy it now, you can download it, you can be listening to it in 5 minutes. And so that began the download phase of Jim Hodges audiobooks. Same old recordings, same old stories, been around for 20 years at this point, or probably more like 10 or 15 years at this point, and go. So the next phase, and this, as you can see, things are always changing. And I like to say there's one thing that I like about being self-employed in this kind of business. You're constantly challenged. You always have to go, what's next? What can I do? You can't sit still. You cannot sit still. And you know what I hate most about being self-employed? You are constantly having to work to keep up with the technology. You're constantly having to figure out what to do next. It's like, can't I just read books? I mean, that's what I really want to do. So it's invigorating on the one hand, but if you've been doing it as you know, David, I was in the Navy for 20 years before starting Jim Hodges audiobooks. Yeah. So, and before that, I started working when I was 12, paper routes. And before that, it was shoveling walks and raking leaves and doing all that kind of stuff. When you're a little kid, anybody can rake. Might not do a great job, but you can get a lot of them anyway. So I've been working for so many years. I am getting to the end of it. 67 is not. I'm not young. I'm not old. But I'm getting to the point where, I want to set things up on autopilot. And that's why I've worked out with hey, you sell my stuff on your site. Hey, you get me on all of the download sites for audiobooks, literally worldwide. I have customers in China, South Africa, Australia, Canada, not Mexico so much, Japan, different countries in Europe. I mean, I've traveled a lot, but I've got customers in a lot of places I have never been, thanks to the internet and the ability to sell things through the internet.
Just so the listeners are catching this, they might be thinking, well, I can't live off $1,800 a month, but you're talking $1,800 a month times 3 or 4 or 5. And That's what I really want them to pay attention
Right.
to, is these different income streams.
So that's my Navy retirement check coming in. That's been coming in since I was 41. That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
You do 20 years in the military, and the rules have changed a few times since then. But at that time, you would get a base pay, you'd get a housing allowance, you'd get a meal allowance. And when you retired, you'd get 50% of the base pay. So it usually works out to about a third of what you're actually earning.
Yeah.
You get your check when you're active duty. When you retire, you get about 1/3 of that, and it's for life.
And a third of what you made as an admiral. I mean, it's got to be.
No.
Or were you on the enlisted side of things?
I was an E6, not an O6.
You're like me. You're on the enlisted side.
Yeah, I'm on the enlisted side. But you know what? Honestly, I will forever be grateful that I stayed, because I've had medical coverage ever since. My wife and I, my kids that were still at home, we had medical coverage that I wasn't really having to pay that much for. It was like $100 a month, maybe, for TRICARE for all of us.
Yeah.
And then the commissary is a much less expensive place to shop. So there were multiple benefits to. It's not just that monthly paycheck. And I paid into the survivor benefit plan. So should I predecease my wife, she will get 55% of that for the rest of her life, because I earned that.
Yeah.
And so when I die, it's over unless I sign up for this annuity payment, and then she'll get it for the rest of her life. So, it won't be a whole lot for her, but again, it's the streams of income that are going to sustain us. So about, I guess about 4 years ago, something like that, I talked to a couple of people about Social Security, and the prevailing wisdom was, go ahead and apply when you are first eligible, which is for most people, that's 62. My full retirement age was 66 and 8 months, which was like August of last year, or maybe December of last year. And I did the math, and I thought, well, this is how much my check's going to be. If I multiply that times, 3.5 years, as opposed to waiting, how much money is that? How much will I get if I wait till that day? And how long will it take me to make up what I'm missing by not applying now?
Yeah.
And I've discovered since that it's pretty much a blanket rule, 12 years. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I've got 12 years worth of income coming in automatic, Yeah. You know what we did with that money? We bought a second condo.
Yeah.
I didn't need it to live on. I had my Navy retirement check. I had $1,500 a month coming in from my own website in sales. I had $1,800 a month coming in from the affiliates. Now I've got Social Security coming in, and I look like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, you know what? Real estate, where I live, is not cheap, and it is forever on an uphill climb. I live in Annapolis, Maryland. Not this. Beach. This is a fun background, because that's where I'd like to be tomorrow, or maybe Monday. We're already talking about that. So all of these things, and what we did with that condo was, hey, family, friends, would you like a free place to stay and come and visit?
Yeah.
So we fitted it out with, enough furniture to make it livable, and had family members come down and visit and stay for a week. And they had their place, we had ours, because, it's in the same building. We are downstairs and it's upstairs, so it's been really great. But again, as I mentioned, it's just gotten so expensive to live here, even with all of these automatic streams of income. And I don't have commute expense. I don't have uniform expense. I don't have wardrobe expense. I don't have to eat lunch out every day, which I hardly ever did. I would almost always, bring last night's leftovers for lunch. And we're frugal people. We don't live extravagantly, although some might question that, but we don't live extravagantly. And I say that because 26 years ago, I was still in the Navy. I had 90 days of vacation time saved up. we hopped on a military flight, landed in Germany, didn't realize we had no reservations and no plan. So we hopped on another plane and flew it back, another military plane, flew it back to London, at least where they spoke English, and spent 2 or 3 days traveling around London and southern England. And then we went back to Europe and started our Eurail Pass and spent 3 weeks traveling around Europe with no reservations anywhere, nothing but a backpack on our backs. And we traveled around Europe is one of the last things I did when I was in the Navy. And it was part of our kids' homeschool. I mean, this is an education. We're going to Rome, we're going to Venice, we're going to the D-Day beaches, we're going to Germany, we're all over the place. Yeah. And everybody, all of my kids' friends said, your parents must be rich. No, we're not. We're far from it, except we really, this was something that we really, really wanted to do with you kids before I got out of the Navy. So that got us on a trajectory where I've lost count of the number of countries that we have visited. We've been all over Europe. 2 years ago, we took all of Monica's siblings on a 2-week trip through Europe. We just got back from a 6-week trip to Southeast Asia. My son is in the military. He's stationed in Singapore. And for his kids' summer vacation, they wanted to go to Thailand, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, and India. And they asked us if we'd like to go along. We said, sure, let's go.
Oh, man. So, and I love looking at your Facebook feed when you're on these trips.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, go to the Jim Hodges Audiobooks Facebook page, and you too can come to Sri Lanka and India. Our last day of that trip, we were at the Taj Mahal, which was just a fantastic exclamation point to the 3-week trip, a 6-week trip that we had taken. And when you're self-employed and your website is on autopilot, I forgot. I instituted about 7 years ago a download a month club. Yeah. So my audios cost $18 if you just come and buy one. If you join the download a month club, you pay $6.99 a month, but you get a coupon worth $18. And then you can come back and buy an $18 download for the $6.99 that you spent on that coupon. So I've got over 150 people that are on that. Wow. Many of them have been for some time. And that's where the bulk of my website income comes from. It's, $1,400, $1,500 a month. Yeah.
Man, I love that. Now we're hitting another label, like recurring income.
Exactly. I offer it in January, typically for $5.99. Yeah. A month. So that's $6. You're paying 1/3 the price of an audiobook. So if you only use 1/3 of the coupons that you get, you're not losing any money because you're still, getting an $18 download for every one of them. So yeah, I've had as many as 180. We're a little over 150 now. That was my high point, was 180. Yeah. But that's really nice to just, so I sit down at my laptop, whether I'm at my son's in Singapore or Sri Lanka or wherever the heck we were, and I see all of these sales coming in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
$5.99, $6.99. Somebody bought a download, $18. Oh, they bought the download and the study guide combination for $24. So it's just money. That's just money coming in. Oh yeah. So that's automated. The affiliate stuff is automated. Just general sales off the website is automated. My Navy retirement check is automatic. My Social Security is automatic. My wife signed up for Social Security. That's automatic. So I don't know how many different streams of income we've got. Yeah, there's a lot.
I like it. No, it's pretty good when you get so many great ones that you have to sit and count them just to. Well, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That's not a bad thing. The crazy thing is, so off of the audiobooks, between the affiliates and the websites, it's about $40,000 a year. Yeah. Well, now we add the Navy to that, and then you add Social Security to that. You're pushing 65, 70 maybe total of just income. Don't even think about what the expenses are to maintain all of that because it is expensive, and that's why I don't really have a lot of money left over. This trip this past summer was the first time I have wildly overspent on travel expenses, and I'm behind the 8 ball in a big way. But it's worth it. It was. We went with our grandkids and my son and his wife, and we traveled all over and saw some amazing things. And I mean, my goodness. And it took a long time to get here. I don't,
Yeah.
I know you're dealing with, maybe 40 to 80, that age range, but I hope younger kids are looking at this and saying, well, he didn't get that overnight. It took 20 years in the Navy, 25 years of self-employment, all the work that he put in to actually record those books and edit those books and pay somebody to design the covers and pay somebody to, there's a lot of those conventions. Oh my goodness. I don't know what a convention booth costs anymore, but
yeah,
I quit when it was pushing $750, $800 for, 100 square feet for 2 days. Like, God.
Yeah. And if you want to end cap, just double that.
Exactly. At least double that. And I would always ask for a corner because then at least I had two sides.
Yeah.
And people had to come around and go around that corner. And I had my CD player right on the corner. They could not miss hearing my voice as they went around that corner. I mean, it just made sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
now, most of your stuff is historical drama, but you actually have some other Hardy Boys and some other things like that as well.
I do. Yeah, the Hardy Boys have been a blast. I started doing classic literature titles, which I'm really enjoying because I never did read them when I was in high school. And that way I'm getting to read the classics, which is great. And I've chosen not like heavy stuff, Around the World in 80 Days, Treasure Island, Robinson Crusoe.
Fun stuff.
This is more fun stuff, but still classic lit. There's a reason people still recognize those names. It's because they're classics. Yeah. So, the best part about this for me, Dave, is that I love it. I love reading out loud. I just do. I just think it's fun for me. All the rest of it is work. All I want to do is read and then just go, you guys do this, you do that, because I really don't. I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm to the point now that I might be able to get away with always paying somebody to do my editing. This last book, I spent so much in India or wherever that I couldn't afford to pay somebody to do my editing. So I had to do my own editing, which I absolutely hate doing. But I have people who will volunteer and have volunteered for years to listen to my stories once I think I've got all the corrections made. Yeah. And they just listen to it and come back and say, hey, you said the same line twice here. And I go in and fix it. And then I release it. I have somebody that does my website maintenance, simple things, creating new pages and adding product and that kind of stuff. Not a lot. The plugins for the site are not free. The hosting of the site is not free.
That stuff adds up too.
It does. When I did the math a few months ago, it was costing between the monthly maintenance and all of the plugins and the hosting, it was like $500 a month just to have the website. And I thought, that's ridiculous. That's way too much money. But I'm at pains to figure out what should I stop doing, because they all have their place, So there are difficulties that come up when you become self-employed. You have to start thinking about these things. You have to look after your expenses. You have to make sure that your profit margins are reasonable. And I think, for a $2 CD to sell for 10 wholesale, that's a great markup. That's a tremendous markup. You can make a business with a $2 product that you sell for 10. Oh yeah. If you have closer margins than that, it's going to be harder. And that's why the internet age, the digital age, is so phenomenal, because now my only production cost to get an audiobook done is my time. I do pay somebody to design a cover, which I could probably do, but not really interested. And they're not that expensive.
Delegate the stuff you don't like.
I want to farm off all the stuff I don't want to do. And I couldn't do that at the beginning. I had to do a lot of that stuff on my own. But I wanted consistency too. So designing the covers was something that I hired out. I said, look, here's the format. I don't want that to change. I want everybody to be able to look at my next one and go, this is a Jim Hodges audiobook, just because it, so I don't understand all the rebranding. Let's see. Cracker Barrel is a wildly popular restaurant chain around the United States. Let's change everything.
Let's make it like all the others.
It's so dumb. No, I want people to look at it and go, "Oh, that's a Jim Hodges." Because look at the cover. Of course, I recognize it. That's a Jim Hodges. Yeah. So
more so the rebranding. I'm a bigger fan of like going retro, like grabbing an older logo and bringing it back. Something like that. I like that better.
You know what I wish somebody would do, and there are TV channels that are attempting to do this, like Me TV and things like that. I wish that Disney would come up with their own, Disney Retro channel.
Yeah.
And all they would have to do is rerun all of their Sunday night programs from all of the 1960s. You'd have, let's see, 5 times 12. That's 60, 2 or 3 hour long programs. And just, what are you doing with that now? Anybody?
Yeah.
Anybody?
It's sitting in a warehouse somewhere.
It's sitting in a warehouse somewhere, and you could be mining the public domain. It's not even public domain. It's your own inventory.
Yeah.
And you're doing nothing with it but coming
make use of it before it's public domain.
Well, yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I mean, believe me, every year I look at the list of books that are going into the public domain in case there's something that I want to record. And that's what I'm doing with the Hardy Boys.
Okay, yeah. I've been using some of the Winnie the Pooh stuff now that the early stuff.
Hey, there you go. I thought about that too, but I'm afraid my concern with that one is people are so familiar with the voices that have already been established.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Still too close.
Yeah, they're going to listen to mine and go, he doesn't sound anything like Eeyore. I'm like, well, I'm not the guy who did it, so I'm sorry, I'm not that old. Well, maybe I am.
But the Hardy Boys is perfect. I mean, it's not like there's been Hardy Boys movies or anything all these years. I mean, there've been one or two, but not so recognizable that somebody else couldn't do it.
Right. And so I'm recording, and the blue cover Hardy Boys, 99% of them are not the original text.
Yeah.
The original text is 24, 25 chapters, sometimes almost an entirely different storyline, because in the 60s and early 70s, they rewrote them all.
Yeah.
So that every one of them was exactly 20 chapters, the exact same number of pages. Let's adjust the storyline any way we want to comport with what we think the story should be now. Well,
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I have to go. In fact, I went to Abe Books and searched for the brown cover Hardy Boys books. And I contacted each seller and I said, please open the flyleaf and make sure that this is the 1927 edition, 1928 edition, 29, 1930, so that I knew that I was recording the one that was going to be going out of copyright the next January 1. Yeah. So I could get them all done now, and then just wait for the date to get here and boom, drop them. And I hired a artist for the covers, and I sent him the original cover, the paper flyleaf that would go around the brown jackets. And I would send him that because you can find that picture. And I'd say, make yours look like this, but I don't want to use exactly that. And so he just kind of recreated the picture in his own way. So I wasn't breaching anybody's artwork copyright. Not that it would be covered now either, but still, I thought I want a more unique presentation. And those have been selling, especially not so much on my website, but in the public distribution channels. Those have been selling really well. I'm going to keep doing them. In fact, my last one, The Great Airport Mystery, is done. I've got 2 people proof listening now. And when they come back and tell me what the corrections need to be done, I'll get that page set up and just not make it live until it goes public domain. Yeah. So, man, I'd love to see something like that become just more and more popular compared to some of the stuff that's put out these days. Oh, yeah. Maybe you can help me with this. I've been really trying to come up with and I don't know how to do SEO research. Maybe you do. What would be the perfect phrase to purchase the web address of for parents who are looking for kid-friendly, audiobooks? Yeah. I'm thinking family-friendly audiobooks. I'm thinking, something, because I also wanted to communicate that this is not the same stuff that your finding everywhere else you look.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to have to worry about it as a parent.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing that a lot of parents have said to me. Look, you know what, Jim? You know, it's the best thing about your stuff. Not only do we love your voice and your reading style, and the sound of your voice is so pleasant and calming and easy to listen to, which is what they tell me, which I'm glad to hear that. We know that no matter what we get off of your website, we can let the kids just listen to it. We don't have to worry about it containing anything that we would find objectionable. There's nothing there. It's all good. I said, well, yeah, that's what I would want for my kids. That's what we read to my kids. Why would I offer anything else to yours? It just didn't make any sense to me. And I won't. I mean, I've had people ask me to record books of theirs, and I've just said, I'm sorry, this is not something I'm interested in recording. Thank you for asking, but no thanks. And they don't really need an explanation. You just say, this is not in my wheelhouse, or something like that. This is not something I'd be interested in recording.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot they can say.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, as we start winding up, one thing I always like to ask everybody, if you could recommend 3 resources, books, podcasts, people to follow, that could change somebody's life in terms of success and happiness, what would be your top 3 resources?
I don't really follow anybody. I follow marketing guys.
Any go-to books or anything?
You know what? Honestly, I have been so flying by the seat of my pants that I mean, obviously Dan Miller was one of them for sure. I loved reading his emails and stuff. Tom Woods is another guy that I follow now. He's very much associated with Russell Brunson, and
okay, I follow a lot of Russell stuff.
Paul Counts is another guy that works with Tom, and what Tom wants you to do is create a website, get an email following, and then do affiliate sales. Don't even bother trying to come up with your own stuff. Do affiliate sales. And I get that. In fact, it's what I'm doing with my 8 homeschool webs, community friendly websites. That's what I'm doing. But I'm not selling any of their stuff. I'm having them sell mine. Because, and I think most of them are interested in doing that because I'm absolutely willing to share the sales 50-50. Yeah. You get to keep half. You don't have to worry about, markups or sales or anything like that. And if you only sell a few, then you don't make a lot of money. So if you want to make more money selling Jim Hodges stuff, just send out an email every couple of months and say, oh, by the way, Jim just released another one, that we've got, and see whether that will work for you. You're not thinking about just like homeschool people, right? You're talking about no, anybody. Like I usually tell people too, like the Bible's a given, so you can't name that as your top resource. Of course, right? Yeah. Well, absolutely. That's. I mean, I go to a very, 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 very consistent. We're fairly consistent anyway. I fell on the ice in January of 24. Had surgery a year ago yesterday on my hip. Physical therapy for the next 4 months. All this year I've been working to get back in shape somehow with my morning exercise routine, because I just plain couldn't do it last year. It would hurt too much. Yeah. So last Monday I went water skiing for the first time in I don't know how long. And the first thing that happened was he jammed the gas and wasn't even straight ahead of me and jerked on that thing so hard that my right leg pulled back because it's got the force of all the water behind the ski, and I tore up my hamstring.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm in a bit of pain. Now
you're on the disabled list again.
Well, I know. I was like, oh my gosh, I waited so long. I did go to an urgent care place and they said, well, you haven't broken any bones. I did that a week later just in case there was something broken that I would see the healing. But honestly, I read widely. It's mostly history. Yeah. I do watch. I actually, honestly, if you're looking for some ideas for the products that people have come up with. And if you want to get your entrepreneurial juices flowing, I think that is a great resource to just, find whatever streaming service has the whole history and just go back 10 years and just start watching them. Because
oh man, you get so many ideas just watching what other people are doing. And you'll also see that no matter how crazy your thing is, somebody is doing something even more crazy.
Yeah, and got somebody to invest in it.
Yep.
But don't go on a Shark Tank when you've got $300 in sales. That you're not gonna get anything.
They'll make fun of you.
Yeah, they'll just say, guys, dude, you need to have some history before you come here. Who let you in? And I stay very much on top of current affairs. I think watching business network programs are not a bad idea, even though pretty much all they're talking about is the stock market. And frankly, I've bought stock in a few companies, never had any real success with that. Real estate, on the other hand, real estate's been very, very good to Monica and I. And now that I've got 2 condos and I don't need it because it's just Monica and I, we can rent this thing out. And here in Annapolis, it'd be probably, my payment is $1,200 a month. My monthly maintenance fee is $400 a month. And that's why it's like, okay, all of a sudden, thank you, Joe Biden, my purchasing power stinks, but I'm still shelling out, $1,600 a month for this place. That's why we ended up having to turn it into a rental, because that $1,600, depending on what your income level is, might not sound like a lot, but it's like what everything I earn off of my website. So we're going to turn it into a rental, and then we'll have positive cash flow, maybe get it paid off before either one of us die. And the reason that I really wanted to get a second condo, because we were happy with our living arrangement, largely, was that in the event that I die, there'll be enough insurance money to pay it off. And then Monica can have the full amount of that coming in without there being really much of anything in the way of expenses for it. So, again, I have always been looking for streams of income. That's why I stayed in the Navy. That's why I started my own company. That's why I did this with all of these other websites. That's why I applied for my Social Security. Then we had Monica apply as soon as she was eligible. And just because that knowing that check is coming in, even though the dollar amount might fluctuate with the sales, it's a very comforting feeling to know that you have established multiple streams of income.
Oh yeah. And now we got to figure out a way to make this water skiing thing service connected to 20 years ago.
Now you're thinking 25.
I'm in that rabbit hole now. I'm trying to get more disability on the VA side of things. And that is a quagmire.
Well, I don't know what I could claim, honestly, that we didn't address at the outset. And, I've got like 20%. It's nothing. If I'd really known what I was doing at the time, I probably could have gotten more. But, I was like a 40-year-old guy who just worked for, I didn't even make E7 because I didn't take the duty assignments that would have required that. We were homeschooling. We were more about, doing family stuff than me being gone for 6-9 months at a stretch. Oh yeah. So, anyway, you make your decisions, and Lord willing, you're happy with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and close out, Jim. I appreciate you being with us. And
thank you so much
just for everybody that's listening, I'm going to put your website link and everything in the show notes, and that way we get some people to sign up for the books. That book a month club sounds like a pretty good deal.
Oh yeah. It's a great plan. Yeah, go ahead and put that link on. It's on the homepage. There's a wide banner to click on that, and it'll take you to the sign up page. And I've got 35 Henties. I've got a dozen old time radio shows. I've got 8 Hardy Boys. I've got 25, 35 kids level, 5 to 10-year-olds. So there's plenty there for whatever might interest you. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Yep.